This is After the Gridiron, a podcast featuring interviews with retired football players. If you're a fan of After the Gridiron, make sure you subscribe to the show to ensure that you won't miss an episode. Today's episode is sponsored by Symphonies. Symphonies is an online store that provides custom clothing and accessories. They have a number of quality products available at affordable prices. They offer custom, unique, funny, and inspirational products that you won't find anywhere else. So go to www.symphonies.ca to shop for your next purchase. And as a special offer for our listeners, enter promo code GRIDIRON to get 15% off your purchase. So there's no excuse not to check it out. Again, that's www.symphonies.ca. Symphonies. Great products, great prices. All right, everyone, welcome to the show. I am your host, Lyle Green, and today we have Jason Gavadzda as our guest. Jason is a 5-year professional football player, 5-year professional football career. He had 2 years in the NFL, and he had 3 years in the CFL. He played for a few teams, which we'll get into as we move on in the interview. He went to the University of Kent State University, where he was All-MAC and All-Conference there, and he's also got the record for most touchdowns and most yards by a tight end at the University of Kent, with a lot of them as like 50-plus yard touchdowns. So he's got some wheels for sure. So, also drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 6th round of the 2000 draft. So, Jason, thank you for coming on and welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me. This is very exciting. Love to share my story, and I think you're doing a great thing here in asking us about our careers and what we're doing now. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jason. We appreciate that. All right, so we'll start off by asking you to tell our listeners, is there something about you that most people wouldn't know about you? What is something about you that most people wouldn't know?
That's a great question. I guess the best answer is I really know how to relax. And what I mean by that is I think you need to be calm. I think you need to be clear. And you can't let life, dictate what you do. And we got pressures with families. We got pressures with work, even friends, I just find a way to take a deep breath and I digest and realize what's going on in the big picture and everything is going to be okay. And I think that comes from all the teams that I played on. Getting fired, all the time in our career and crying and getting back up to run again, doing wind sprints on your own, So I think it really taught me, the football life really taught me how to deal with life in general. And I try to give that back to people I talk to now. So that's how I get through and do things. So that's what people may not know about me is my clarity and calmness. I do a really good job of relaxing. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that's a good thing to have for sure, especially in life. There's definitely things that will make you not want to be relaxed and want you to be stressed and overwhelmed. But to be able to be calm and to know things will get better at the end is definitely a good thing to have, a good trait to have for sure.
So that's right. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to the beginning where it all got started and tell the listeners how you got started in football. I know guys get started at different ages. Some Pop Warner when they're really young, some in high school. But what was it for you?
Yeah, so for me it was high school. It was 9th grade. So growing up in grade school, I played all types of sports. I was very athletic, loved running. So it was, soccer, it was baseball, it was basketball, it was track. And I was a skinny, 6'3" skinny dude by 7th grade. I was tall. And so when I got to high school in 9th grade, junior football coach comes up to me, saw me running that track, the 100 meters and stuff. He's like, "You got to play for me." And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, you got to play." I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Just come tonight. Come to our first practice." So that's how it started. I became a tight end in 9th grade. I was the only 9th grader to start on that junior team. And had a wonderful time. And again, I grew up in a tough household in the sense of my mom went through 2 divorces. Wasn't exactly the funnest place to be growing up. So doing something after school and it being sports was probably a blessing that I didn't know at the time, and glad that it was in my life.
Yeah. And you did enjoy football. Was it that kind of was that your favorite sport, or is it just one of the sports that you liked playing at the time?
Yeah, and to this day, it's not my favorite sport. Hockey and baseball was always my favorite sports, and I was not even the greatest at those sports. So, that's why I chose football, is because God gave me these talents with my legs and my hands to catch the ball really well. And I really know that there's kids who love football like so much that they wanted to be in my position, and that's what actually drove me to wake up every morning, no matter how I felt, because I knew there was another Canadian kid from Toronto who wanted to be there, let alone anywhere else in the nation. And God gave me the opportunity to be there. So I took advantage of my talents. And at the age of 42, I'll be 43 in a month, I will still use my talent in my softball league and my current ball hockey league, because Lord knows when you lose your legs, to your speed, I should say, right? When you use your speed and your strength per se, I don't want to have any regrets that I could have still played, some intramurals or anything like that, or help kids. Yeah, for something. So that's what gets me up every day today. So that's really, what it was for me. That's
good. And so you said you play softball and some hockey right now?
Yeah. So after retirement from the CFL, realized that waking up every morning, going to work out 5:30, 6 a.m. All our lives, we got used to it. However, it wasn't exactly fun. It was our job. So when I actually had a chance to be an entrepreneur of my life, and dictate my own hours, it became a reality that I actually didn't have fun going to the gym if I wasn't going to be, a football player, if it wasn't my job. So I actually took a number of years off from doing anything. I didn't touch anything. I actually, drank beer, ate some wings. I actually enjoyed my life, because when I played football, I actually didn't drink very much, if at all. And then I actually didn't eat terrible. I was actually a very healthy eater. So, to have a beer wings on a Friday or a Thursday night, I was like, let's do this. And then it became...
You do it now, yeah.
So that's right.
Freedom now, yeah.
That's right. So then it became 2 or 3 nights a week. And then after a few years, just like every athlete gains weight, after you play, I didn't help the situation. So that's when I finally decided about 5 years ago now, to start doing stuff I enjoy and have fun. And it wasn't going into the gym per se. It was playing, softball, playing a little ball hockey, and going out on that field. Beautiful fields where I'm at, by the way, where I live. And the night lights come on softball, and there's no other place I'd rather be than on that manicured field. And I say that to myself every day, because that's what I said in football, when it was time to play. Nowhere else I'd rather be for the next hour. Of game time, 3 hours of, work, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people go into have the mindset that, working out and doing those type of things is the only exercise. But like you said, if you find something you like to do, have an activity, as long as you're active and, using your body to do something that you love, that's what you need. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, and the doctor agrees with me too. So my family doctor is really happy with me.
He's happy with you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about going to your selection of Kent. You went to Kent State University, and I'm sure you're recruited quite a bit, and just talk about the process of selecting Kent over all the other options that you had.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story, and hopefully I can bring some, excitement and wow factor to the story for kids who, don't think they have a chance, because, like I said, I didn't grow up in a rich family or anything like that. I mean, like I said, I grew up with a single mom and some brothers and sisters, and so my story, it's pretty interesting to the fact that, getting drafted getting a scholarship was my only way to go to school. I actually couldn't afford to go to school if I had to stay in Toronto. I'd have to get a job, so I knew I needed to do something with my life if I wanted to change it. And I learned that really young, actually, that I was in control. And what I mean by that is on Saturday mornings during high school, I would go to the gym. I would go to the park and I would sweat. And I just would sweat because I knew if I sweated that good things are happening to my body. And while other kids are waking up, watching cartoons, playing video games, I just went to the park and I did that every Saturday. And my school, I just ran really. I play on the monkey bars. I just ran. I love running the 100 meters. So just doing all calisthenics and stuff. I mean, at high school, I just didn't remember. My home life wasn't the greatest, energy wise, if you will, right? They still, everyone loved me. Don't get me wrong. I still had, food on the table, yet I also had my own job, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was again, at an early age, I was in charge of my life when I started working at 13 years old. So I took that into high school. I became like the captain and led everybody with the calisthenics and the trains and everything like that. So I wanted to get drafted. My high school was actually an hour and a half away from home. I was 3 hours on the bus every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I would do my homework on there. I would sleep on there. I would eat my breakfast on the bus. And I would miss 45 days a year, which is grounds for expulsion and out of the school, except I was a unique case, as my wife says today. You're a unique person. So the principal couldn't let me go because I was still doing so great in school, and I was doing great for the football team. It was just where I lived. And so I was very committed. Every year, an athlete got a scholarship. We had a lot of people go to Michigan and Michigan State, a lot of O-linemen. And I wanted to go to the school because I wanted to be the next guy. I didn't care where I went. So what I did in my lead up to my final year of high school, we had an OAC that year. A grade 13 is what we call it to get you ready for university. Yep. Now it's just grade 12. So in 11th,
they don't have it anymore.
They don't have it anymore. So in 11th grade, what I did, I went to the library. And we had typewriters back then. I actually.
We're old.
Oh man, I'm sharing this story with the grin right now, and some scared ears on the other end here. I actually typed a letter that said that my name is Jason Gavazza. I'm a 6'3", 220-pound football player. I play quarterback and running back, which was my position in high school. After that 9th grade, I became a running back, and then I was a quarterback my final 3 years. And
oh, really? Okay.
Absolutely, right? Because they want the best athlete touching the ball every play, right?
Exactly.
That's what I was always doing.
Exactly.
And so I was at the library, and I got all the books I could find on university schools in the States. And I picked 2 teams in every division that I could find in the reference, in the glossary, if you will, of these textbooks. And I picked, Notre Dame and all these places, and I didn't know the difference between Michigan and Notre Dame and Kent State. I actually didn't know the difference. So,
oh really?
Yeah, I
thought they're all the same.
I didn't even care. I was just like, I'm just gonna pick 50. So I picked 50 schools. Lick a stamp. Put my letter in there. I basically told in the letter that I could play. That I could play every position on the team. That's really. I'm a quarterback. I'm a running back. I can also play linebacker, DB, and kicker. Like I just want a scholarship, right? So that's what I put. And from those 50 letters that I mailed out, 30 responded with questionnaires. Believe it or not. Okay.
Really?
And out of those 30 questionnaires, 10 of them wanted video. So 10 out of 50, that's not too bad for a kid who just went to the library on his own, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so my video was hilarious because it was one of my best friends, trying to film me every game, and he did a great job, except that was VHS tapes back in the day, right? So it wasn't exactly the clearest, and our games were so kind of slow. Yeah, right? So I mailed out all 10 videos, and this is how I got picked for Kent State, which is kind of remarkable. So, I told you I was an hour and a half away from school. So you're not allowed to go to high school when you're over like a certain boundary, 20, 30 minutes, if you will, right? So I basically cried, and I didn't have a high school to go to. So my mom told the principal at my high school, bring him in, talk to him, and tell him to go to the school that you're supposed to go to, right? So I get interviewed by my high school where I want to go, and I get there, and the principal's interviewing me. And he basically, after the interview, looks at me and goes, "You're coming here. I'm not letting you go anywhere." So he loved what I had to say. He loved my confidence. He loved me as a person, that he was willing to make this, decision, even though he knew 45 days a year, missing, just pass your courses and everything's going to be fine. And that's what I did. So, yeah. And so he left our school after my 10th grade. He got promoted, went somewhere else, right? Became principal of all the principals of the city. And then also in Kent State, coach gives me a call. And they weren't on the list of the 50 I gave, actually, right? So, no. Yeah. And he goes, "Jason Gavadza, this is Jim Corrigal. I played for the Toronto Argonauts for 16 years. I'm currently a head coach at, Kent State. I'd like to come visit you and your family. Are you available tonight or tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Wow, yeah,
of course,
yeah, please, come." So, my mom set up some little appetizers and stuff, and made Coach feel very welcome. And it was basically an interview right then and there, while I was still just studying for my exams. It was kind of weird, and for high school. And so there's one thing that to this day he said that he enjoyed interviewing me. He knew he was going to offer me a scholarship. And there's one thing that changed his view on me. Not changed, just even
influences you.
Yeah, as me as a person, just recognized who I was, because rest in peace, my grandfather's passed away. He's always told me, whenever guests leave your house, you stand by the front door with the door open, right? And you wait till they drive away, and you wave, and you tell them thank you for visiting your home. And so I did that with Coach when he left the house. And as he was driving by, he almost got himself in an accident because he looked and said bye to me, and he was not ready for it. And
he wasn't looking. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't looking, but he looked, and then, he put the brakes on, and he was safe. I mean, and he saw me like a month later when I got to the school, and he goes, "No one's ever done that." And you know what? I also learned that when I was a kid. Thank you for bringing that to my attention again. And it was just one of those.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you're doing the right thing. So basically, he offered me a scholarship later that day, and I didn't take it. It was right before Christmas, okay? And so New Year's comes, and I'm studying for my exams, that are coming up, and they're OAC exams. I'm in 12th grade, and I don't want to take a 13th grade or anything. And for that last semester coming up. So it's January, and it's like the 2nd. So I call Coach. Yeah. Like, "Coach, did you offer scholarships to other tight ends, or are you waiting for my answer?" He goes, "No, I offered them to 3 others." And I said, is it first come, first serve? Typically only one you choose. He goes, That's right, son." I'm like, "Okay, I will take your scholarship. If it's still available, I will take it, and I want to be there in 2 weeks."
Yeah.
And he literally dropped the phone. He's like, 2 weeks? I'm like, "Yeah, I want to be there for spring ball. I've passed all my courses in high school. I got my 6 OAC credits, which were important to me, because if it didn't work out at Kent State, I can go back to university and still continue my university career, not have to go back to high school, if you will, right?"
Back to high school, yeah.
Yeah, so I got the scholarship. I got there in 2 weeks, and here's the most amazing part of high school. I had exams the same time college started. So I went to my principal, and I said, "Hey, listen, I got a scholarship. I'm leaving. I'm actually starting on Monday. And my exams are important to me because I need them if I do come back. I need to pass." He goes, "I'm exempting you from all your exams, and go tell your teachers right now to give you an estimated grade. Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
And come back to our end-of-year prom, and say hello to us." Right? And that's what I did. I went to all my classes, got my estimated grade, got exempted. All my teachers, I'm knocking on the doors of my classrooms and telling my teachers what to do, and they're all like surprised, and they give me a hug, like, "Who does this, right? Who gets exempted?" Yeah, exactly. Right? And they were all forced to pass me, right? So exactly. It's so funny. My English teacher just looked at me like, "I have to pass you, I guess," right? Meanwhile, I had good grades all over the place, and I actually came back for my prom in June after my first semester of college. I came back and graduated with all my friends from high school, and I already did a half a semester of college already. So that's my story on how Kent State got to me. It was a principal who was 3 years removed from my life, and made a call to Jim Corrigal to interview me, and Jim called me And coach offered me a scholarship. I said no, and then I said yes, right? So two amazing men in my life, those guys, and I even invited my principal to my engagement party when I got married. He's basically an angel on my shoulder. If not for him, I don't know if Coach Corrigal would ever have called me, right? So
have called, yeah. So what was their connection? How did you know Coach Corrigal?
Well, Coach Corrigal and himself knew each other when Coach Corrigal was a Toronto Argonaut for 16 years. Coach Corrigal got drafted by the Arizona Cardinals in the second round in 1972, and also by the Toronto Argos. And he chose the CFL over the NFL. And what was interesting back in the day, they paid the same amount of money.
Yeah, it used to be the same. I know. Wish it was the same now.
Yeah, exactly. We had to get rid of the zero, didn't we, Lyle?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. A few zeros.
That's right. That's right. So that's where the connection was. It was the Toronto connection. I'm living in Toronto, and Coach Corrigal brought 6 Canadians to the team that year, and a very important one the year before, which was O.J. Santiago from Whitby, who went on. Who went on to play for the Atlanta Falcons, played in the Super Bowl, drafted in the 3rd round. And, he was my mentor because he opened up the tight end playbook for us at Kent State. And then I continued it and built the playbook further when he left, which was amazing because that's what I needed. I needed things to happen all along the way. It's amazing how it started from the very beginning at the park every Saturday to, my principal who left. Yeah, exactly.
Wow, what a story. All right, so let's talk about your time at Kent.
Yeah.
So how things go with Coach Corrigal? I know we had some battles. I played at Toledo, so we definitely, I don't know if we might have played one year against each other because we're in a different side of the conference. But
yeah, exactly.
Talk about your time at Kent.
Yeah, I think I played Toledo not until my 3rd year actually. So you're right. It's not every year we get to play each other, and so Kent State was amazing. It really shaped my life. We all hear the stories about how college and university does that. However, I'm the only athlete at Kent State that never missed a summer practice. So you can imagine all the summers I stayed and all the practices they had, and I never missed one single one in 5 years. Yeah. And I had jobs every morning, every afternoon, for the extra cash. And I just knew that if I was going to get drafted now, I have to be that person, So Kent State was amazing. School was a little bit easy for me because being a Canadian, our high school is a little bit more difficult than some of my classes in college. And we've heard that before, Lyle, and it's true. I mean, I would get 117% on my math and my English courses. And my friends in high school are laughing at me. You got over 100%, And I was gifted enough to have graduated pretty quickly at Kent State, yet I still had a 5th year eligible because I got redshirted, and I started my master's degree. And although I didn't finish it, I'm glad I started it and experienced that part of my life as well while I played football. So education-wise, I got my scholarship in business, got a minor in computers, and pursued my master's. So all that was paid for, and it was wonderful. And I really, can't thank the school enough for that part of it. And football-wise, that's where the learning lessons every single year happen, right? From getting redshirted my first year to playing behind OJ, not seeing much time because of his talent, and then with him graduating, and I still had and drafted, I still had 3 years to go, and our head coach, our offensive coordinator actually opened up the playbook even more with me, which I thought he was going to contract, like you never know, right? OJ's gone, and, here I am. So, that's what happened is we didn't do too well as a team over the 5 years. We won 7 games, right? I know. Toledo guy laughing on the other end. I know.
Yeah, I know,
11 games a year.
Sorry about
that. No apologies needed. Seven wins in 5 years, so a couple 0, wins. And so we went through a number of head coaches, and I actually went through 5 position coaches, if you could believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, Kent State was known for that. Be there for 1 year and move up. and
yeah,
Division I football. And what's amazing is the NFL can find you wherever you are, and that's
exactly,
what I was most blessed with, was having that opportunity, at Kent State.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you had the OJ ahead of you, so he kind of put the spotlight on Kent with the position, and let people know that there might be some more talent there as well. So
yeah, and
like you said, NFL can find you wherever you are.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Just to add this little stat, because Julian Edelman and so many, James Harrison, so many great athletes have come out of Kent. And we've had actually 10 Super Bowl winners in I think 10 years there, in the run of 2000. Do you believe that?
Oh, wow.
Not even people drafted to the NFL. If I remember my numbers right, I think we have 10 Super Bowl winners in a 10-year span, which is incredible, out of school that only won 7 games in 5 years. So we had the talent, right? We had the talent, and James Harrison, Defensive Player of the Year, was my teammate for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And besides Levon Kirkland of the Steelers, James Harrison is the most scariest linebacker I've ever played against. And,
he's scary. Yeah.
And
even now, you see his workouts and stuff.
Oh, his strength, man! He would look at me, and I would run. Yeah, I would run around him, and he would admit that. And then when it was time to block him, I mean, he just give me a smirk and said, "Thank God you're on my team." And then, he'd lift me up and move me over, So
exactly. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to get to the quarterback.
Exactly. A lot of good times there, and So when it came down to getting drafted at Kent State, quite a unique story happened as well. It was my final year. And this is my draft year, and I'm ranked about number 30 right now in all the nation from my previous years of all my touchdowns and yardages and stuff like that. And six weeks into the season, I break my right hand. And it's like my draft year, and I don't know what to do and everything. It's the middle of the game, and everyone's yelling at me to still, go on the field. What's wrong? Please keep playing. And I'm like, my hand's broken. Like, what am I supposed to do? And so the trainer looks at it, and I go, "Is it going to break anymore?" He goes, "No, it's broke." I'm like, "Okay, put a cast on, fix it. I want to go back out there." And although I didn't go back out that game because of the broken hand and the x-rays and everything I had to do, I never missed another game because I started catching with one hand. I actually scored, I can't remember how many touchdowns, another 4 touchdowns and over 30 receptions with one hand. And
Wow.
I was blocking better because I was more focused with where I placed my good hand, right? And I thought, holy crap, I'm going to have a chance to get to the Combine, which is the top 15 players at each position in the nation get invited to in Indianapolis. And I said, I should have broke my hand earlier. Holy crap.
Exactly.
So, I set all my records, not the majority, my last year with a broken hand.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that's the thing with injuries and sicknesses that kind of makes you focus on your technique and focus on your abilities and what your strengths are and what you need to do with to do your job. So it kind of refocuses you and makes you even better player.
Yeah, that's the special word, even better. You bet.
Yeah. All right, so you were drafted by Pittsburgh in the 6th round. Can you talk about that feeling being drafted by an NFL team?
Yeah, you know what? Never, the odds of the broken hand and getting drafted didn't ruin my dream. However, it did put a lot of clouds and fog in the dream. And I just kept running every Saturday before the draft. That was my key. That's what worked in the past, so that's what's going to work now. And then I got invited to the Combine of one of the top 15, and I went there and I kicked butt, and I ended up being the number 4 tight end when the Combine was done with. So getting into the draft, I was the number 4 tight end in the whole nation. Hands all healthy now, everything like that. I ran an amazing 40-yard dash for everyone at Kent State. We had about 15 teams at Kent State. I ran a 4.53 40. And at 6'3", 260, a lot of eyes were on me. And the one downfall to this day is that Kent State only played 2 major schools per year. As you know, in Toledo, we have the MAC divisions, and then you get to play 2 other teams elsewhere. And I played in Georgia. I played in West Virginia. And my school that year was Pittsburgh. I was on TV on ESPN in Pittsburgh, and I scored my touchdown and had 6 catches for 90 yards or 100 yards, whatever it was. And a lot of people saw me, and that's that. And you never know which game is going to do it, right, Lyle? You have no idea. So you got to play every game to the top of your ability. So so that's what happened to me. And when I got drafted that morning, back up one day, being the 4th tight end ranked, I should have been day 1. It was a 2-day draft, 1, 2, and 3 in the first, second, third round on day 1, and then all the other rounds day 2. So there's 7 tight ends on approximate average every year that get picked on day 1. I was number 4.
Yeah.
So 4 out of 7, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to be a first, second, third rounder. I don't know. Like, something's going to happen to me on day 1. And I had everyone over, all my close friends and family, and at my college apartment, and I didn't get picked up. And it wasn't sad. It was just, oh, wow. No, there was only 3 tight ends that were chosen. So I'm still number 4. It's just not on day 1. So
not on day 1.
Yeah. So day 2 comes, and 4th tight end gets picked, not me. 5th tight end gets picked, not me. Now we're getting into the 6th round. 6th tight end gets picked, it's not me. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what's happening? I didn't do anything last night. I'm still the same guy. There's no
guy, exactly.
Yeah, there's no news outlet out there putting articles out on me. Like, what's going on here? And again, the whole Kent State only playing 2 top teams every year got to me. And then I got a phone call from picked it up that it was Coach Cower from Pittsburgh, and he's talking to me, and he goes, and this all happened so fast. He goes, Jason Gavadza, I just want to say that we're really happy to have you here. Coach Malarkey, our tight end coach, has really battled for you. And if you just look at the screen, you're going to see your name. Welcome to Pittsburgh. And as soon as he said that, there's my name. And the happiness, the goosebumps, Coach, you haven't made a bad decision here yet, and I'm going to prove it to you. Yeah, my confidence was out of this world, my excitement, and it was one of the best days of my life. And I got married, and my wife still knows that it was one of my best days of my life, getting drafted. And shortly,
1 and 1A.
That's right. And shortly before, or shortly right after, was a CFL draft, and I was drafted by the Montreal Alouettes, and it just wasn't on my radar. Thank you, CFL, for drafting me. You're not a priority right now. And I didn't mean that in a bad way or anything. It's just, I just got drafted by Pittsburgh. Off I go, right?
Yeah, you can't beat that,
Yeah, so that's how I got drafted. What a feeling, though. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
it must have been an amazing feeling to have your family there with to share in that moment, and to get that call from Bill Cower, one of the greatest coaches in the NFL, to say welcome to the team. That's an incredible moment for you.
Totally, absolutely.
All right, so at your time there in Pittsburgh, you happened to win a certain championship as part of the team. Can you talk about being a NFL Super Bowl champion?
Yeah, so it's quite the story. Again, this doesn't end. It always seems like, I've got barriers, and the road given to me is not predictable, and so is life, right? So is life. It's not predictable. And here's my story. I got cut by Pittsburgh, and I got the GM to say goodbye to me. Thank you for your time and good luck moving forward. Really that quick? Really, that's how it's done. And I'm now driving back to Kent, Ohio, to go see some family and just hang out a little bit. And then I get a call from Coach Malarkey, and he's like, "Did you speak to Coach Cower?" And I'm like, "Nope." I spoke to the GM. He goes, "You were the only one that was supposed to speak to Coach Cower, because we wanted to let you know we wanted to bring you back on the practice squad. We drafted you. We just had too many tight ends for the season. You're a big part of our future." I'm like, well, you know what? I didn't get that call. I didn't get that conversation, and I'm now here in Ohio. And Coach Malarkey felt really bad about that and said, "Can you just please consider, what I said?" And I said, "I'd love to, and I'm not saying you're not telling me the truth until I get a call from Cower. What am I to do? I have to look after my career here, right?" And the very next day, I got a call from the Titans. and Coach Fisher. So he goes, listen, we have 3 days left of practice squad. We want to bring you here. We want to take a look at you. Are you ready to come? I'm like, yep. I go there. 2 days later, brings me in his office. He goes, listen, we're going to cut you tomorrow. However, we want you on our practice squad for the year. We love your talent. We love what we saw. And we just need you to learn the playbook, and we're going to keep you here. So don't go anywhere. You got it? And I said, wow, that's a little bit more honesty than I got at Pittsburgh, right? So, yeah, I'm going to stay. So then I got 10 offers to go to different schools. Different teams now. Because that's the free agent frenzy, right? And everyone wants to sign you after week 2, because if they sign you before week 1, they have to give you the whole contract for the year. Whereas week 2,
for the season,
then it's 1 week at a time. And Pittsburgh was one of the 10 teams, and so was Tennessee, and I chose Tennessee. And I said they were honest with me from the beginning. In Pittsburgh, I still haven't got a call from Tower or the GM. Maybe this is just Coach Malarkey, doing his thing, his best, And I even called Coach up, and I said, thank you for offering me, a practice squad opportunity. I chose Tennessee because this is what they said, as opposed to what you guys said. And he understood that and wished me the best, right? So, so I go to Tennessee, and after 8 weeks, Wesley Walls in Carolina comes down with an injury, and my agent calls me and says, the Panthers need you. They want you. Do you want to go there? And as you know, I'm on practice squad, so going on a team, your paycheck quadruples, actually, times 4, just for 1 week, and you get a chance to play. And so I go there, and I get in my first NFL game that week, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. Didn't actually get into a play. I almost got into a special teams play here or there, just to have the whole outfit on and looking around, and you made it. Like, not only were you drafted by the Steelers, you made it into your first regular season NFL game. Yeah. And 2 weeks later, Wesley Walls gets healthy. And as you know, when you have one too many players on a team, you got to get cut. So I got cut.
Yeah.
And a day later, I get picked up, get a call from Green Bay. So off to Green Bay I go. And that's where I finished off my year, 4 weeks at Green Bay with Brett Favre as my idol, because I was a quarterback in high school. So I always pretended I was Brett Favre. Now I'm his teammate. So I made it my job to catch every practice ball before practice started with Brett Favre. And as you know, my last name, Gavadza, people have called me Gonzaga, Godzilla. That's why I go by, that's why I go by JG. It's really simple. Yeah. And if someone calls me Jason, I'm in trouble, So, as you know, Brett Favre's name is Favre, if you actually were to read it in a row, the letters in a row. Yeah, the way it's written. So he's standing by the lineman, right before practice starts, just shooting the crap, and he's throwing to me. And like I said, I want to warm him up every practice. He's my idol. And, he's just talking. I'm like, come on, Favre, throw the ball. I got to warm him up, right? All the linemen looked at me and said, do you believe what you just said? Like, no one talks to Brett that way, right? And then he goes, oh, Gonzaga, just catch here, So him and I had a little joke going on that we could call each other by our wrong name. Yeah. Because he just butchered my name like crazy, right? So once that season was over, that was my 4th team. I went home, actually flew home to Christmas Eve with my family, surprised them by being Santa Claus. I came back to Green Bay, packed my stuff up, and they said, listen, we need a week before we can bring you back. We just need to confirm if you're a year 1 or 2 player, because I played in Carolina for those 3 weeks. I'm now considered year 2, which does change their financials. So I'm at home, and I watch Shannon Stark score this touchdown for the Ravens that bounced off 3 people. I don't know if you remember it, at Denver game. Bounced off 3 people, and he catches it, and he runs in for the touchdown. And I'm watching. I'm like, man, I can do that. Why am I at home? And the game was over, and I get a call from Baltimore, and they said our tight end just went down with an injury, our 3rd-string tight end, his ankle. And on our list, you're the next one up that we wanted from the very beginning. So can you be here in a couple days? And I said, you just finished the game. You guys are flying home. Why don't I get on the plane tonight and meet you there in the morning? Right? Yeah. And he goes, what? You would do that? I'm just at home watching football. Like, I got nothing to do. I just finished with Green Bay a week ago. Right?
And where were you staying at the time?
I was at my nonna's house, my grandmother's house in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
I actually flew home. Right? I actually flew home. Yeah. And I got the call, and my nonna's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Baltimore. Okay, when you come back? I'm like, I don't know. No, goodbye. I gotta go. I go to work.
Yeah.
So get to Baltimore, and Trent Dilfer and Ray Lewis recognized me right away, and they both said, listen. And Ray Lewis was actually the best. He goes, I don't know who you are, except now you're my brother. I don't know how you got on this team. I don't know your journey yet. However, if you're on my team, if you're on this team, you're good. And I got your back. And let's go win something. And I'm like, wow. Right?
Nice.
Like Ray Lewis. And Trent Dilfer was amazing, too. Welcomed me in. And 3 weeks later, we're in the Super Bowl game. And what a feeling that was, right? So that was my 15th that year. And a funny story I can share with you, and the Canadians will love this out there. So the semifinals was Tennessee versus Baltimore, my old team, right? The one I was on for 2 months. I knew everybody. My locker was in between Eddie George and Steve McNair. Rest in peace, right?
Oh, cool.
And so when the game was over, we won a couple block kicks, and we're off to the next game. And after the game, everyone's shaking my hand. Eddie George, he knows my story. He's been watching me. He's like, go win this, man. This is your 15 this year. Good luck, And everyone, so I get back to my own locker, and all my teammates are like, who are you? Like, they didn't know who I was, right? I just got there, right? They're like, who are you? Like, everyone was saying hi to me and wishing me luck because they're all my teammates, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so then we're off to the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, and I'm the only Canadian on both teams that are there. So CTV and TSN come and interview me, right? Normal. Yeah. I'm the only Canadian. How'd you get here? Tell us your story. We've been reading about it. All this, all that, right? And then I get back to my locker, and I'm in the newspaper in Tampa Bay because that's what they do, the articles of the interview, right? All my teammates go, who are you?
Who is this guy?
Right? Oh, my God. It was so funny. I'm a practice squad player, right? I'm the most famous.
Yeah, you're getting all the media. Yeah.
Right? Ray who? Right? So,
exactly. Excuse me, Ray. Excuse me. I need to talk to Jason here.
Yeah, exactly. So then the one final thing that's amazingly funny was all the playoff teams that we played against, Tennessee, Oakland, and now the Super Bowl, and I'm on the sideline as a practice squad player. I don't get a chance to get into any of these games, which is okay, because you still need to learn the playbook, and I can't learn the playbook in a couple of days. It's and the parents of the other players that aren't playing told their sons, hang out with number 47. He's always on TV. So apparently I'm on TV now, and now my teammates are saying, I got to hang out with you at the game. My mom says, I got to hang out with you. Yeah. And what was so funny is they couldn't keep up with me. I can't stand still, right? So I'm always up and down the sideline like a coach, and the cameras always seem to get me. And after the first quarter, all my teammates are like, man, I'm tired. I'm going to go sit down. So they gave up. And there's a special photo on YouTube now, me with my arms up on one of our kickoff returns for a touchdown. And all my teammates after the game was like, oh, man, my mama going to be angry, man. That could have been me right there beside you.
Could have been there. Could have been right there with you.
Oh, man. So that's the story. And winning that Super Bowl on that field was the most, truly the most amazing feeling in the world. And I was a Super Bowl champ in my first year. Yeah, in my first year,
Wow.
So.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, one of the greatest events in North America, being able to be a part of that, the Super Bowl, and having millions of people around the world watching you from the guy in the park in Toronto all the way to the Super Bowl is just amazing.
Yeah, totally was. Totally was. Yeah.
All right, so let's go move towards your CFL time and time in the CFL. How did that go? I know you spent some time with me here in BC and played some time in Toronto as well. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So, so once that Super Bowl year was over with, I got picked up by the Bengals in the offseason. Pittsburgh brought me back for that second year, actually. They cut me again, so Pittsburgh cut me twice, so you know how I feel about them every year. And then I went to St. Louis in my second year. They sent me to NFL Europe, and while we're in Tampa Bay, I hurt my shoulder for trying out for the team. So for the next year and a half, actually had 2 surgeries on my shoulder. James Andrews fixed me up, and down in Birmingham, Alabama. And I ran every day because my legs weren't broken. My shoulder was. And when I was better, my shoulder was actually stronger than my good one. And James Andrews goes, hey, Jason, so you're all healthy now. You're looking good. What you going to do? What'd you study in university? I told him I got my finance degree, except I'm going to the Alouettes in Montreal. They drafted me, and I can still run and play, and I'll send you a photo. He goes, you do that, son. And he goes, no one's ever played football after this injury. So good luck, basically what he told me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I go to Montreal, and my stories don't end here because I'm in Montreal and I've got an attitude, right? I'm a Super Bowl champ, 6'3", 255, right? Like, and I'm fast, right? Well, like I'm going to the CFL, man. Like, I'm an NFL champ, right? Like, I'm going to dominate. And, I was as tall as Ray Elgard, the Hall of Famer, right? I start talking to myself like, I can catch like him. Everyone's like, but he's a Hall of Famer. You haven't even played yet. And Bruno Apel, blessed my teammate at Montreal. Bless him, great teammate.
Guy.
Yeah, and I was like 2 feet taller than him. Yet he's from Montreal, right? He'd laugh at that, except it's true. He was. Yeah. I was taller, and we did a fake sort of scrimmage before the season started, and he's number 33 and I'm number 36. So tons of fans, right? Number 33, Bruno Apel, and I'm all like, cut day is like tomorrow. We're just doing the final walkthrough. I mean, there's a couple final cuts, and everyone cheers for Bruno Apel because he's from Montreal. He's been on the team for 6 years. Everyone loves him, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh crap! I didn't know that they loved him. I knew he was from here. Number 36, Jason Gavazza. Silence. I'm like, nothing. The fans don't know me. I'm a fullback like Bruno, like this. And the next day, I got cut, right? And it was like, wow, I'm at home in my house in Barrie, my new house I bought with my wife. And I'm like, I got to go 9 to 5. Like, what else is there besides CFL? Where am I going to go? I got to do something. And then I just said, stop talking like a victim. Stop it. What worked for you? So I went to the park. I ran. So I'm just going to keep running every day. I'm going to go work out every day.
I went back to the park.
I went back to the park, and then 2 days later, Wally Bono from BC called me. He said, Jason, our fullback Mark Nora went down, and we need a fullback, and you're on our list. Would you like to be here? I'm like, I'll be there tonight. I'll see you in the morning, right? So I flew over there and became, your teammate with our amazing offensive line coach as well, teaching us all these blocking techniques, right? And I spent 2 amazing years with you guys. Yeah, 2 amazing years. And our first year we made it to the Grey Cup. So I'm like, wow. By the way, in the NFL, my record was 25-1. On all the teams I was on, I was 25-1. Yep. And and one of those losses was in the preseason. So go figure. And
so you can't count that yet.
Yeah. And then so now I'm on the CFL, and we made it to our Grey Cup in our first year. With Casey Printer's MVP year. Dave Dickinson was injured, and we played Damon Allen and the Toronto Argos in Ottawa. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm absolutely going to win a Grey Cup. I say that now, except I wasn't that cocky. I mean, we still had to play, right? However, it was my first year. Like, we had a really good chance, and as you know, to this day, what an amazing year that was for Casey and our offense, and you involved as well. You played so many positions and was a rock running back for us. Even though you're a running back, fullback, you were everything, and you solidified that back end for the quarterback. And Dave actually got healthy for that last game, and he played instead of Casey. And I remember it was 3 minutes to go in that game, and you and me in the running game scored that touchdown. And we drove down that field in a minute because every play was a 15, 20-yard chunk. And we thought we were going to go back in for the final minute because why not? We got the ball back. We're down by a touchdown, right? And we've been running over them. So that's not what they do. And we end up throwing the ball as normal offenses try to do in the last minute.
In CFL.
Right, is to throw a ball. And it didn't work out for us. And needless to say, I was one of the first athletes into the locker room. I was devastated. I really thought we had a chance to tie it. Didn't happen. And that, hurt. And then yet we had another great year the next year. And what was amazing when, BC cut me is I went to Toronto, and when I was in Toronto, BC won the cup. And then, so when I was on BC, Toronto won the cup. And then when I went to Toronto a couple years later, BC won the cup. Right? So congratulations. I wasn't part of that one. However, I did get America figured out. I did get the Super Bowl figured out amongst all that. So
exactly.
Yeah. So what an amazing story. And to end my career in Toronto, I actually did real estate at the same time for that final year, and I actually didn't play that season. I'm just doing real estate. And then all of a sudden the playoffs start, and I get called from the Argos and said, we need a tight end. I'm like, I'll be there. So for the last 3 weeks of the playoffs, I'm on the Argos. I'm playing.
You're on the team.
And I didn't play all year, and we almost made it to the Grey Cup. Like I said, you guys won it that year. And I did so well in my 2-3 weeks there with Coach Pinball Clemens and Steve Barato as offensive coordinator. They wanted to bring me back for the next year. And that's when I gave my resignation letter. It was on my terms. This was my third chance. Like, who gets 3 chances to play football amongst my injuries, amongst getting fired by the Alouettes,
so many teams.
among, working in real estate, and then the Argos calling me back. That's 3 chances. And I realized I sold 3 houses in 1 month in real estate. That equaled my entire year as an Argo. So I said, thank you so much. I have a wife now. I want to start a family and be a family and not be a football player anymore. I have no regrets making that decision. And now I speak to schools and kids ages 3 to high school about my story and 12 teams and being fired 8 times and never giving up. So that's my way of giving back to my society now.
That's great. That's a great story. Let's talk about, you said you're into real estate now. Let's talk about your decision to go into real estate. Was that something you kind of thought you're going to do it for a while? Was it something you're thinking about for a little while, or is it kind of...
Yeah, so...
just kind of fell into your lap?
I guess a little bit of both, because when I was hurt in Birmingham, Alabama, we're rehabbing every day, and everyone's playing video games, and that's not the life I wanted to live, as fun as that I see could be. And then people started getting addicted to golf in the CFL, right? Our teammates, they love golfing, right? And I wasn't even into that either. I said, what am I going to do? And so I started studying for my real estate license while I played football, just as a backup to when my career was over. I could do that. And I think that's what happened was I just didn't want to play video games. I didn't want to do that anymore. And, we had a lot of athletes on our teams that did that, a lot of them. And so I just started reading and using my time off to study and really have something, just in case. And the just in case happened when Wally gave me a call and said he's not bringing me back. And that's when I took off and started in real estate, which is another amazing story. And needless to say, it was the right decision for me and my family. And people say, why don't you ever coach now? Why don't you ever, get into football? I'm like, I would yell at the kids. I would, and the parents would be angry at me. The kids would understand. Trust me, they understand when a coach. The parents would be angry because I'm a yeller. I yell. I scream. I have a loud voice. And so everyone starts laughing at that. Except it's true. And I get aggressive and I get into football mode. And I don't know if I would have been I don't know if I could tone down my volume if I were a coach, actually, because I was a very quiet player, right? I actually was. I wasn't, except, oh my God, you give me the ball to be a coach, and I'm yelling at everybody, Yeah. So what I actually do now, Lyle, is I actually coach new agents that come into real estate, into our brokerage for their first year. So I actually never left football. And if you can just listen to this quick story, I can tell you what I mean by that is, a football is a buyer or a seller lead, and I'm the quarterback. And sometimes I have buyer agents that work with me to help my buyers, so I hand the ball off to the running back. And the running back is going to touch the ball 20 times to get a touchdown, just like my buyer agents are going to email and text and call that buyer 20 times before they buy a house. And sometimes you'll get a fumble. A buyer agent might lose a buyer. And my receivers, are my listing agents. And sometimes I throw a Hail Mary and they catch it. That's a come list me, as we say, where you don't have to do too much, and you get the listing, and then my receivers are my listers, and they're going to get a ball every once in a while, and they're going to get a listing every once in a while. And then my playbook, in football, we have a playbook at Keller Williams, and that's what we follow. It's a business model. And what's interesting about the NFL and the CFL is you have a GM, and we have an owner at Keller Williams, Gary Keller. Then, you have a head coach, and we have, our owner of Keller Williams in Toronto. And then we have all the position coaches in football. And we have what we call all the ALC members, at Keller Williams, who are top agents that make decisions for the team. And then in football, we have all first team, second team, and all the practice squad players. And just like in our real estate office, we have our top performing agents, our next year agents. And so I actually haven't left football. And what's most amazing about all of this, to kind of connect everything, is, as you know, there's a pension of sorts in the NFL and CFL if you played 3 years and a day. Well, I missed that in the NFL. I only played 2 years. And I actually missed getting my pension by 3 games. And in the CFL, same thing, right? So I said to myself, wow, what can I do here in my life? And Keller Williams has a pension situation as well, where 3 years and a day, you will get what we call profit share. When you bring in agents to the company, all the profits are shared and from the owner's pocket. So you need a special owner to own a Keller Williams. So I haven't left football. I actually coach by a playbook. I actually coach players to bring them up to the next level, to be a starter, to be a top agent. And I tell them there's going to be interceptions and fumbles all along the way. It's strategy that counts. You're going to get fired, by buyers and sellers who don't like you, don't want you, just like I was fired 8 times. So to tell you the truth, I haven't left football. I just looked at it from different eyeglasses.
Just a different venue. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your story, Jason. It's an incredible story and a incredible journey that you've come on. And just to finish off, you kind of finish off with what I call a top of the mountain moment. So just looking back on your journey and looking back on your football life and how you've come through football and where you are now. Is there something that you want to, a special moment, a special memory, or a special story that you want to share, or some advice for younger kids or younger players coming up in football? Is there what do you want to share with your to finish things off here?
Yeah, so I guess for the audience, my favorite thing here is to help the kids, right? To help even the adults. My speaking engagements that I do now give me so much energy, probably like these podcasts do for you, Lyle, and your listeners. And I think that's if that was my job, I would actually enjoy it so much because it's energy giving. Where real estate and football, they're energy takers. Like, honestly, we give up so much of ourselves, and sometimes we don't get back if it's not a win or if it's a loss. So to get that kind of energy from my speeches, I want to share a message to you guys that be careful what you dream about, and I mean that. Make sure your dreams are big. I don't want them to be small. And be careful what you dream about. Dream often. And I keep saying be careful because your dreams might actually come true. I'm a Super Bowl champ. That was a dream for me. And look at the road that it took for me to get there. And Lord knows that it was not predictable. Yet you never give up. You persevere. You become consistent. You become persistent. And things like that happen for the rest of your life. So that's a story I share with kids now. And principals love it when I come back to schools because, honestly, when a kid's ready to drop out or give up, he says, "You were there when Jason spoke. You were there. Did he give up? No, he didn't. Find it in you to stay in school." So that's really the message that I love giving. So be careful what you dream about because they might actually come true.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely came true for you. And yeah, the story about when you talk about journey in life and when you have goals and looking up at your goals, and people say don't look at the end, just look at the next step and take one step at a time and just keep going, keep plugging away, and once you look up, eventually you'll be where you want to be. So that's something that you definitely did, and just want to thank you for your time and for coming on the show today and for sharing your story. And opening up with our audience, with our listeners, and just want to ask you to tell us what your contact info for those that are in the Toronto area and want to buy a place. You're in the real estate business, so just share what your contact info is.
Sure. You know what? I'm a big text and cell phone kind of guy, so calling me at 647-219-7653. I love helping people both in the Bay Area and Toronto areas. I've got a team that can really take care of you guys. So if you ever need any help, if you have any referrals in the Toronto area, we'd love to help them, and we'd be very thankful, and we will let you know that. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. And if you want to catch us out on the online forum, it's really simple. Search torontohomes.ca. We're all about getting leads online. You won't see me market myself too much out there because I just want to be known as a great agent, and if I can share my football story afterwards, I'll do that. So, again, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate sharing this story, and I hope it matters to somebody, right? Because it's not often, you got to go to the library to find addresses anymore, right? And maybe I'll catch you on the park one Saturday, and we can do a little run together. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I know we can always find you in the park running somewhere.
That's it. You bet, man. To this day.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jason. Appreciate it again, and thank you for coming on.
All the best to you. Thank you.
Oh, you too, Jason. All right, take care. Thank you for listening to After the Gridiron. If you're a fan of the show, please make sure you subscribe to the show and also leave a rating and review. By doing that, you also help to spread the word about the podcast and assist others in finding the show, so more people can enjoy this great content. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with the links to those being found on the website. Your support is very much appreciated. Also, please visit the resources page on the website for links to our sponsors and affiliates. Their support helps to keep the show running, so go to www.atgridiron.com/resources to check them out. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you when we kick off our next episode.